Okay, so what we want to do now is connect the active balancer. Okay, so the BMS has a passive balancing function. It's only 200 milliamps, which to be honest with you, when you're talking about these sort of cells, it's not a great deal. But what will happen is as you charge the cells, the BMS will provide resistance to cells that have a higher state of charge, so that more current or charge goes to the cells with a lower state of charge. So it only happens during charging, doesn't happen during discharging. Where what an active balancer does is it will actively take current from one cell or the higher cells and distribute that current to the lower cells. So even if the cells are sitting here doing nothing, and one cell is outside of, is below another cell, it will actually try and so it'll take current from one cell to the other. So it happens during charging, discharging, and even just while they're sitting there static. So to wire this up, in the box you'll receive your active balancer, and you'll also receive your active balancer cables. So these cables here join up or are very similar to the balance cables in the fact that you've got one black wire, the remainder are red, and for a 4S BMS or setup, you'll have 5 wires. So yeah, it just basically goes to the same wires as the thing. So I'll go ahead and I'll connect this up. Now, to connect this up, what you want to do first of all is disconnect the balance cable, the balance wires from the BMS. The reason being is we're going to be taking this apart. The other thing as well, in the active balancer, you would have received some eyelets. Again, the eyelets that are included or that we include with the kit is a 6mm eyelet. The reason being is every other cell except for these have a 6mm stud, where these 130 amp hour cells have an 8mm stud. So if you get the Lishan 130s, maybe just run out and grab some 8mm eyelets, which I've done here. These blue ones here I just picked up for, I think it was $3, so not a big deal. All right, so to connect it up, we'll go ahead and we'll disconnect the BMS. So we'll start off with the main negative. So there we go, they're all tightened up. What we can do is we can plug in, actually I'll just loosen that. Okay, so we can now plug in the BMS, and we'll just check that that's got current. Main positive, main negative, 3.2, 3.2, 13.2, not 3.2, 13.2. Okay, and we can go ahead and we can plug in our balancer. Okay, now I checked the voltages of all of these cells and they were all 3.2, so all of them should actually be reasonably balanced at the moment. However, the BMS has, or the active balancer has, a light here. So this light will flash when it's operating, okay? In addition to that, you can connect to the active balancer through the Bluetooth module. So I'll go ahead and I'll do that. So the Bluetooth module for the BMS can also plug into the active balancer. so. And I'll then connect to the mobile app. Okay, so once you've logged into, connected all your active balancer cables to your cells, you can go to your mobile device and the Smart BMS app, the same app that you use to log into the BMS, you basically click on that. And then once that opens, you'll see the active balancer similar to, again, the app. So you click on it, and down the bottom you should see the active balancer tab. So you click on that. Now when it first opens, you'll see all the settings that we've got there. So the first setting is the balance current. So this is a 1 amp active balancer, so we'll just leave that setting exactly the same. This is a 4S 12 volt kit, so it automatically recognizes that there's 4 cells connected. The discharge high temp protect, it's currently sitting at 70 degrees. I don't see any reason that we need to change that one there. The discharge low temp, now that's currently set to -40, so we'll change that to 0. Now the password is the same password as the rest, which is just 123456, and then you just hit set, and you'll notice that that'll then update in a second or two. There we go. Next one is the sleep waiting time, which is 3600 seconds. So again, I suggest change that to 65535, which will basically mean it won't go to sleep. So we'll hit set. The balance open diff is currently 0.05 volts, which I believe is fine to leave at that. The balance open start, it's currently set to 3.3. Now I would probably change this down to 3 volts, if not a little bit lower, and that's just what voltage do you want this to start balancing at. So I'm going to change this to 3, and I'll hit set. The cell high volt protect, now it's currently defaults 4.25, which is way too high, so we'll change that to 3.65 volts, and we'll hit set. And the cell volt low protect is currently 2.2. You could leave it at that, or you can change that to 3, which is what I'll do. Even 2.5 might be a good setting, but I'll just leave that at 3 because that's what my low voltage is on my BMS. So we'll hit set. Now down the bottom you'll notice that there's a switch, so the balance switch. So again, it's currently set to off. If you just touch it, tap on the screen once, it'll turn to on, and if you tap on it again, it'll turn off. But that's basically it. Now you'll see that the active balancer is currently working, because you can see that the cells are currently bouncing around with the voltage. It started off at 3.84 on one of them, but yeah, you'll see that it's pretty much just balancing all of them out to around 3.85, 3.84. But yeah, that's basically the active balancer working. So yeah, that's basically all you really need to do to set it up.